Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just gonna skip the energetic intro I usually do to just get straight to the point. Cod is dead. I said it. I'm tired of trying to have hope in this franchise because every time I get hope and start getting excited, I'm let down again and again every year. I told folks that I wouldn't be excited or hopeful for either BO7 or Modern Warfare 4. And as of now, I'm glad I didn't buy BO7. I mean, look at the campaign. It makes Vanguard look cute. Vanguard of all games. And if you think that's a little too over exaggerated, it makes BO3 look cute. Now, my name is Blitzer, for those who don't know me, and I make gaming related content here on YouTube, mainly around the Call of Duty franchise, especially its multiplayer and somewhat its zombies. I recommend subscribing and leaving a like on the video if you enjoy it. And if you have any thoughts, please comment them below. You can help me reach 500 subs by May 26th, as that's the goal. If you want to, you don't have to. This is a passion of mine. I'm not going to beg you. But without further ado, please enjoy the video, and let's get straight to it. Thank you. So recently, I was scrolling on Twitter and saw a post from a YouTube creator I watched for a while named TDAWG, or TDAWG Smitty, who is a prominent COD content creator on YouTube. I'll put up his post right here, and it says the following. Yo, Xbox. I really don't care who's in charge at this point. We just need the Golden Age of COD remastered ASAP. Thank you. Signed, everyone. Okay, alright. I'm just going to keep it a buck here, man. And no disrespect to COD or T-Dog at all. I just don't think he sees the big picture, which is okay. Some people see small picture, they just don't care, and they just want something good. I understand. Uh, However, I hate to break it to you, but COD is dead. A corpse being paraded around every single year with the same people always saying, "Oh my goodness, COD is back." And then not even 2 months later, they turn around and hate it. Even if they hate it, they always buy the same slop every year. These people can't be trusted in this industry, just as Activision can't be trusted in this industry. It's too late to want a faithful remaster of a game when the developers are too busy trying to find out what sexual identity they are, or just the identity of their game in general. It's time we move on from COD and find or create something new and exciting as well as original. They will never give us anything except slop. So I recommend you guys just play the better games of the franchise or just move on. People in my comment section in some of my videos literally tell me that, just move on, and tell me that the game is dead, and there's no point in hoping for the better. So I know it's not just me with this sentiment either. Recently, I did a video on the downfall of COD Warzone, and in that video, there is one key takeaway that illustrates how bad the series is at this point in time. Because Call of Duty is no longer a game designed to be fun. It is a product engineered for constant pressure, instant dopamine, and non-stop competition. Like, what used to be a pick-up and play arcade shooter has turned into a full-time sweatfest where every lobby feels like a cash tournament. Like it's freaking esports. Warzone especially is ground zero for this. Slide canceling, bunny hopping, meta loadouts, perfect comms, and all that shoved into what is supposed to be just a casual mode where people can relax and have fun, play against bots and people at the same level as they are, and not losers. And that's the problem people like T-Dog don't really touch on. Remastering old maps or slapping a nostalgia coat on the game does nothing when the culture and the systems underneath are rotten. You could remaster Black Ops 2 bar for bar, and within weeks it would be infested with the same SBMM manipulation. The the same hyper optimized playstyles and the same people treating pubs like ranked because that's all they know anymore. It won't change anything. And I'll just say this, alright? Warzone killed casual COD. Straight up. It trained an entire generation of players to chase kills, chase clips, chase TikTok moments, and not memories. The matchmaking actively throws dads, casuals, and returning players into lobbies with people who play 8 hours a day, and then people wonder why nobody sticks around. It's not that casual players fell off, they were pushed out systematically. Call of Duty used to have an identity. You load up, played a few matches, laughed with friends, maybe got stomped, like me, maybe popped off, but it was never this exhausting. Now it feels like the game is actively punishing you for not keeping up with the meta or buying into the grind. That's not a golden age waiting to be remastered. That's a corpse with a new glittery skin. Like I said, nothing will change. It's just time to move on. And honestly, like here's another thing. The saddest part is that the community enables it. Like every year, it's the same cycle, same honeymoon stuff. Hype, copium, COD is back. 2 months later, non-stop complaints. Then they pre-order the next one anyway. That's why nothing changes, man. Activision doesn't need to innovate when people will buy slop out of habit. Nothing will change. You guys need to stop complaining. I should stop complaining. There's no reason to keep complaining. So no, the solution isn't begging on Xbox or Twitter for remasters. The solution is admitting the franchise lost its soul and moving on. Either you play the older titles that still respect your time and your enjoyment, or you help build something new that actually gives a damn about fun again. COD isn't coming back. Sorry to tell you that. And the sooner people accept that, the better games might finally get. And like I said, I have nothing against people who want to have hope for a franchise. Because I used to be in that position. I used to think that it was always up to the developers to help us. Because when I was young, I had no idea how to code. I had no idea how to even think about joining a company or anything like that. But I'm not gonna brag or anything. I have nothing to brag for, but I I want to make video games that are better than Call of Duty. I want to. A lot of people also want to make indie studios and make games that kind of mirror Call of Duty but aren't Call of Duty, and they're better, and they're just fun. If a game isn't fun, why play it? Because they're not ever going to do anything to fix themselves. Like I said, they're too busy trying to find their identity, and that's the problem. When the game doesn't have identity, or when a company doesn't have a vision or a foundation anymore, what's the point of making games? Why keep going when you could just experiment? COD experimenting was the issue. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I know it's more conservative to say that, but if they kept making games as good as Black Ops 2 or even better than Black Ops 2 with what was already made good, just fixing it a little bit, tweaking it a little bit, don't you think that would be good for the franchise? Now, I get that Epstein was involved with Activision and maybe had his hands in Call of Duty's monetization. It's probably why it's this bad. It's in the files. But my video isn't about Epstein. It's about Call of Duty. It's about why Cod Is Dead. Anyways, here is another thing that really stood out to me. And this is where the identity problem becomes impossible to ignore. It's something I noticed in a video by TDAWG, where he's interviewing people at a Call of Duty esports event. It's kind of recent. I don't know if it's been a few weeks or what, but I saw the whole video. And he's asking them what their favorite COD is, what got them in the franchise, stuff like that. And almost every answer is the same handful of games. You have Cold War here, you got OG Modern Warfare 2, which is understandable, Black Ops 3 a lot of the time, maybe Black Ops 2 a few times, Black Ops 1 here and there, if you're lucky. But you know what never comes up? Call of Duty 1, Call of Duty 2, or Call of Duty 3. Not even Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. At least that I can remember. And that should scare people. Because what that tells me is that the foundation of this franchise has been completely forgotten. The games that made Call of Duty what it is today might as well not exist to the modern audience. And yeah, I get it. A lot of these people are young, except for one dude. But that doesn't excuse the fact that the franchise itself does nothing to honor those games. No remasters, no legacy playlists, no preservation. Just buried and ignored like they never mattered. Now, let's talk about Call of Duty World at War. Because, in my opinion and a lot of other people's opinions, this is the best World War II Call of Duty ever made. No sugarcoating, no Marvel skins, no freaking crossovers, no goofy operators, no operators in general. Just raw, brutal atmosphere and a serious tone and a campaign that's carefully and actually respected the setting. That game understood what war felt like, and yet somehow we've gotten multiple modern World War II attempts that completely missed the mark. While World War II is decent, and it's probably one of my other like second favorite World War II Call of Duty, World at War just sits there untouched. Because why? Is it because like it's too violent? There's Nazis in it. Like, every excuse they have not to make World at War is just pussification because they're too scared to take a risk. I'm not trying to be some alpha male dude here, but like it's pussy shit. All right. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's pussy shit. I mean, if anything, you're killing Nazis. How is that bad? How is it bad? Oh wow, they have a swastika in there. Yeah, they're Nazis. What are you gonna have, a freaking Iron Cross? That's not historically accurate. This game cares about historical authenticity, even if it's an arcade shooter. The multiplayer doesn't have swastikas in it. At least the base maps. Maybe the base maps do, but not the DLC maps. Not in the zombies or multiplayer. The only excuses they have is that it's offensive to a modern audience. That and it also doesn't sell well, apparently. That's the identity problem right there. Call of Duty doesn't know what it wants to be anymore, and worse, it doesn't care where it came from. You can't build a future when you're embarrassed of your past. And the fact that we got a remaster of Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2, but nothing for the first three games or World at War, tells me everything I need to know. Those games don't monetize well. They don't fit the current agenda or the business model, so they're ignored. And it trickles down into how people talk about COD now. When someone says the golden age, they're not talking about like innovation or soul. They're talking about vibes, about nostalgia for when they personally had fun when they were like 12. And that's fine for individual, like perfectly okay. You have your experiences, but it's useless as a solution. You can't remaster vibes. You can't remaster a moment in your life. However, you can remaster code, and the code isn't the problem. The problem is that modern Call of Duty is designed backwards. Instead of gameplay first, it's monetization first. Instead of identity first, it's engagement metrics first. Instead of fun, it's retention. Every decision feels like it was ran through a boardroom instead of a playtest. And when players feel that, they play differently. They stop experimenting. They stop messing around. They optimize. They sweat. They min-max. Because the game punishes anything else. The game punishes freedom of the freedom of anything, actually. That's why Warzone didn't just change Call of Duty forever. It reshaped the mindset of the entire community. Everything about everything became about performance, about KDs, about clips, about being cracked. Nobody loads into a match anymore just to see what happens. And when you remove that sense of unpredictability, you remove the magic. You turn the game into a job. And I think that's way too much of a I don't know, way too much of a sign of the times, you know. And I think that's why older games still hit harder when you go back to them. Not because they were perfect, but just simply because they were human, made by humans for humans to enjoy themselves. It's entertainment. They were rough around the edges. They weren't afraid to be slow sometimes. They weren't terrified of letting players fail. Modern COD is terrified of boredom, so it overloads you with stimulation until nothing feels special anymore, and your brain gets burned out. This is also why I don't buy the argument that esports saved Call of Duty. Competitive COD is fine as a side dish. It's always been. I mean, it's sometimes cool to see like esports. I think esports is pretty cool. I don't watch it a lot, but I think it's okay. But when an entire game is built around esports logic, you lose the casual audience that's been there since day one, at least to COD 4's extent. Even more to COD 1, if you've been there for that long. And I salute you if you have been. You lose the weird play styles, you lose the creativity, you lose the stories people used to tell about matches that went completely off the rails. So when people ask, What would fix Call of Duty? My answer is simple, but uncomfortable. Nothing. Not anymore. Because fixing it would require tearing it down and rebuilding it from the ground up with a different philosophy. And that's not going to happen under Activision. Not when the current model prints money and not creativity. That's why I don't say COD is dead to be edgy. I say it because culturally, spiritually, creatively, it already happened. It's already been shot like JFK. Took out back and shot like Gold Yeller. What we're playing now is Echo, a brand stretched thin, kept alive by habit and nostalgia. And until people stop buying out of that routine, that's all it will ever be. So yeah, to TDAWG and everybody else, no hate by the way. You can keep asking Xbox for remasters. You can keep hoping for a miracle, or you can just accept the reality. Enjoy the older titles that still respect you as a player, and start demanding better from the industry as a whole. Because the next great FPS isn't coming from Call of Duty. And it's going to come from someone who remembers why games were fun in the first place. Obviously. If the game isn't fun, why play it? And before anyone says anything about me being too young to understand, I know. I wasn't 12 lining up at midnight launches when Call of Duty Black Ops or Modern Warfare 2 launched. I didn't experience it on day one with the hype, the servers crashing, or anyone figuring things out at the same time. But that doesn't mean I didn't grow up with it. I lived with that game for years. I learned it. I sat with it. I kept coming back to it after school, late nights, long after marketing cycle moved on to games like Ghost, Advanced Warfare. Like kids my age back then, when I was like 12, they were playing 2019. You know what I was playing? Black Ops. I grew up with those old games. I grew up in the era where these older Call of Duties were still alive, and some of them still are to this day. I mean, maybe hacked. I'm talking about console, like they're hacked, but they're still populated. Where like this is where lobbies were populated for years, where you could boot up a game late at night and recognize the maps, the pacing, the weapons, the tone. You didn't need to be there on launch day to understand why those games mattered. You just had to play them long enough to feel the difference. And that's something modern COD players generally don't get to experience anymore. Like little kids and people that just started playing COD. Games don't age now; they expire. They get replaced, shut down, or abandoned the second the next tile drops. That's what happened with Warzone. I mean, the first Warzone up to Cold War or Vanguard, like Verdansk originally, that was peak Warzone. Vanguard came out, Caldera, no one liked it, but it still felt unique. They shut that down when Modern 2 dropped, the new one, obviously. Everything gets replaced, and all the stuff you bought for, grinded for, spent time off work for, the hype you had, all for freaking nothing because they want you to focus on the new game, like the leeches they are. Back then, COD had legs. COD as a franchise had legs. You didn't feel rushed to consume everything immediately. You could take your time, improve naturally, and actually build memories instead of chasing relevance and trends. That's why it bothers me when people reduce the golden age to pure nostalgia. Because this isn't rose tinted glasses. This is pattern recognition we're talking about. Those games respected the player in ways modern COD simply can't. They trusted you to find your own fun. They didn't shove engagement systems down your throat or punish you for not sweating every single match by putting you in lobbies with phase members or optic members on Adderall. So when I talk about Call of Duty losing its identity, I'm not talking to someone blinded by childhood hype. I'm talking to someone who watched these games exist, persist, and then slowly disappear as the design philosophies shifted. I don't need to be there at the beginning to know when something was lost. You could feel it when you've spent enough time with the franchise. It's not decided by years. And to an extent, these people, some people these days, only care about what's now in the thing and not what it's become from what it was. And that's why this hurts more than people think, because it's a lot of us. And for a lot of us, COD wasn't just a phase, it was a constant, something you could always return to. That safety net is gone now. Not because time moved on, but rather because the franchise chose to abandon what made it great and timeless. And that's the difference. And that's why I'm done pretending this is just a rough year. Just not. And it will never end. It'll only get worse until one day they're like, no one's playing our game. We gotta stop making this and make a new IP, or just abandon the franchise entirely, or reboot the franchise entirely. And maybe, just maybe, if you want to still have a sliver of hope, they might make something okay. But it's not going to be good. It's not going to be BO2. It's never going to be BO1. It's never going to be Marvel 2. It's never going to be World at War. It's never going to be anything good because they just want to insult us and keep us entertained. They don't like. I mean, games as a whole is to keep us entertained, but it's not good entertainment. It's not a good hobby anymore. It's not even worth your hobby anymore. At this point, you'd be better juggling for money as a hobby. Like honestly, that's how bad Call of Duty's gone to this point. Because Call of Duty was once a juggernaut in the industry. Every year there was no competition. Battlefield and Halo maybe, but it doesn't matter anymore. Battlefield's dead now. Because at least from what I've seen, although I had fun on it, Halo is dead. There is no more competition. Call of Duty's the only thing. That's why they're getting worse because there's no competition to make them change. When Titanfall 2 or Titanfall dropped, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 had to innovate. They had to go from boots on the ground to jetpacks with Advanced Warfare because Titanfall did it. Because and when Black Ops 3 came out, Overwatch was new too. I'm pretty sure it came out that year or 2016. Doesn't matter. Around that time, Call of Duty saw that the hero shooter was great, so they had specialists. They saw Rainbow Six with operators. They saw operators in general. And you know what they saw? They saw action hero moments. Oh my gosh! So they have new operators popping out. Just yeah, it's not because they want you to feel cool. It's because they want you to spend money and for them to leech off of you because they hate you. They hate us. I'm tired of pretending they don't. And who's they? You know who they are. You know. You know. You don't need me to explain. You don't need me to explain nothing. All right, I explained enough, and I'm tired of complaining. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please leave a like if you like this video. Notify yourself so you never miss content like this, especially if you like this kind of stuff, me ranting like a baby. And subscribe. It helps out, and I thank you guys a lot for watching my videos. For the 20 or so of you guys watching, my site blows up. Regardless, though, I just can't believe I got this far. So thank you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.